Akio. Hayaku koyo. So, what's up everyone? This is your friendly neighborhood Showa60, and I want to talk about a little something that I've been exploring as of recently. Not many of you know this, but for some of you, if some of my earlier videos and my most recent video where I tried to speak fluent Japanese didn't tip you off at all, is that I've been studying Japanese for well over 21 years. Now, I've gotten to Japanese culture when I was much younger than that. I was like 5 years old when I got started, and my beginning started with a martial arts exhibition of all things. And the thing about that was, I enjoyed it. I loved the ever-living hell out of that. The thing about it was, there was a great deal of beauty and structure in this particular form of self-defense. But to wrap this up quickly, it's safe to say that moved here to Atlanta, Georgia, we never got that chance. So my mom opted to give us music lessons instead of learning how to defend ourselves. Way to make beta males out of us right now. By the time I was 9 years old, I got into Japanese anime. In my last video, I already pointed out what my first anime was, so go check that out, link in the description below. By the time I was 12 years old, I got into taking my love for Japanese culture far more seriously. And what better way to do so than to study the fine art of Nihongo. So, when I was 12 years old, I found this book at the junior high school media center that I was at the time. They had a lot of languages for any person who had that book to learn. Japanese was one of them, and this was my reaction.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
However, the road to learning Japanese as a serious hobby became very difficult. So I used every resource I could. Now, of course, that road to learning Japanese during my youth came with a lot of pitfalls. For one, I had very little access to any form of Japanese learning apparatuses, such as an encyclopedia, any form of Japanese anime, and even though there were some subtitles to go around, it still wasn't enough. And me facing a Japanese transfer student, well, foreign exchange student, back in high school, even faced some problems that I knew little of until last second. But after high school, I was free to do whatever the hell I want, especially when it came to understanding the culture. Of course, my only main resources were a 10 minutes a day Japanese lesson book that my mom gave to me from her old job. Not only that, there are a couple of other Japanese language resources that I had access to later on. And then we fast forward to good old college years, where even that faced a little bit of difficulty when I've had many people who also taught me Japanese, who also studied Japanese, came about. Now, some of them were very cordial and nice and very supportive, while others were heavily discouraging. As I entered my 20s, the challenge to learn Japanese properly became much worse. So enter the weeaboo card, where if you're trying to get into Japanese culture, then you need to do so in moderation. Yeah, that, now looking at it at the age of 33, or 34 depending on when you're watching this, that was a retarded ass idea. So fast forward to now, 21 years of learning Japanese. I've bought all sorts of books, be it on shadowing, writing kanji and kana, and even watching anime with no subs. Same goes for tokusatsu, and even finding like foreign dubs or Japanese dubs of foreign shows and movies. Just recently, as of recording, I was watching Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which, by the way, is one of the most kick-ass movies that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has ever produced. So if you haven't watched it, do it now. I don't see why you're watching Avengers Endgame right now. But the point I'm trying to get across is, use every resource you can possible. That being said, I want to talk about a little something that I've been doing as of recently for the past almost 3 weeks now, and that is all Japanese all the time. Another way of defining this brand new Japanese language lesson journey is Massive Immersion Approach, or MIA. Now, some of you in this community, if you already are in it, might have heard of this dude by the name of Katsumoto.
もう散々言ってるぞ、俺の凄さを。散々宣伝してるから。今さらさ、変な発音してるビデオをね、流しても、しかも初ビデオとして、そういうやつ流してももう、あれだよ。もう大変なことになるぞ。大変なことになる。だからお前最初から日本語できないんじゃないか、お前何その発音。明らかに外人っぽいっていうか、明らかに完璧じゃないっていうか。
Katsumoto is one of the guys and one of many foreigners in the Japanese language community who has gotten the concept of learning a means of communication, let alone Japanese, down to a freaking science. He is considered a legend amongst the community. I don't know what has happened to him since then, but I've heard so many great stories about this guy through the MIA AJATT community, and he is regarded as a hero in that regard. He is regarded as a god. How I knew about this guy was through another YouTuber from that community called Matt, who has a YouTube channel called Matt vs. Japan. Now, I'll provide a link in the description below, but he's one of many people who has practiced AJATT throughout most of his young life, and from what we can gather, he's legit. Now, I can't fully say that this whole MIA/AJATT approach has worked for me very well since I've just started as of this video, but I can tell you that it's starting to pay off. Like, as of right now, I've been doing this little practice where I would write down kanji, create a corresponding story for it, in the means of getting the stroke order down. There's a book series called Remembering the Kanjis, done by this guy named James Heisig, I think is his name. And Heisig's approach to learning kanji, or kana, whilst we're at it, is getting the stroke orders down. In the case of remembering the kanji, using the stroke orders you learned the last time and using it for the up-and-coming kanji ahead. However, that alone won't be enough. If you create a corresponding story to match what you have learned, then the process will be easier. However, one thing you have to consider is that this is just but a small fraction of what it means to perform AJATT, or MIA, because Heisig's method, like any other means of writing Japanese, is just a means for reading and writing and remembering. This is a memorization practice. Now, another thing you have to consider if you're going to try this kind of approach is you're going to have to go in raw.
I have several questions.
And by raw, I'm not talking about having sex with your significant other without the use of contraceptives. No, I'm talking about watching your favorite Japanese anime, tokusatsu, playing your favorite video games in Japanese without any form of subtitles to help you out, unless those subtitles are Japanese itself. Everything has to be at your target language. That's basically what the MIA approach is about. Because it's not just studying. Most textbooks, now that I think about it, have been utter garbage. Since then, it started to feel as if that I've wasted well over $100 or more on the books that I've used as a means to get the reading, writing, and understanding of Japanese down. But I can safely say that it's not too much of a total loss in all actuality, because the only reason I've been drilling this whole remembering the kanji thing, especially with Japanese, especially with like getting vocabulary down, is because I've been doing hiragana before, and I'm glad I got started. So it almost renders Heisig's remembering the kana practically moot. Or not. I might hit that up later on. Because even if I got all the hiragana down, it's been hard to read anything. Even with furigana, I would always mess up here and there. But I guess messing up is part of the learning experience. Yeah, it is. Another thing to take into consideration is sentence mining, which I've been doing on paper many times before. And last but certainly not least is the use of flashcards or space remembering, or SRS. I'll provide the translation on the video once it's post-produced. So what I've been using is an application called Anki, both on my PC and on this phone here. And that too has also been paying off for the most part. It's gotten to the point where I have basically remembered a lot of the stuff that I've reviewed. However, this is just like the first few weeks of the experience, so I can't really tell you that it is the end-all be-all solution. And I don't think Matt versus Japan, Brit versus Japan, or even Katsumoto would tell you that this is the end-all be-all solution. Everybody has a different studying practice. Everyone has a different way of approaching the language that they like, let alone Japanese. So what piece of studying advice would you suggest for yours truly? Better yet, what kind of studying methods do you use? Do you think they're ineffective, or do you think that there is a better chance with MIA/AJATT? Let me know in the comments. If I want to find a way to close this off, it would probably be about saying this. So far, it's starting to pay off. So far, the massive immersion approach has paid off. I've seen the fruits of it in the past, especially with the likes of Rosetta Stone, which I suggest you use only in small bursts because Rosetta Stone might just put you to sleep. What I intend to do with this is really make it so that Japanese is truly a second language of mine, so that I can just practically use it not just in regular conversation, but for when I do my manga series or other stories, or even this YouTube channel. Because the original intention I had for this channel was for me to speak nothing but Japanese throughout on this network, on this channel. And so far it has turned into something entirely different. It's become a jack of all trades type of channel in terms of geekdoms, fandoms, and things like that. And there's going to be some changes now that I'm getting into this MIA/AJATT method. So if you have any thoughts concerning this, let me know in the comments below. Till next time, this is Showa signing out. Glad to see you guys again. And look out for Wildcard Fighter Chapter 8 coming August 20th. じゃあね。